Hi, I'm Jim Goodman, and I want to welcome you to 10 Wheel Adventures. This week, Belinda and I left Quartzsite, Arizona, and we headed south on Highway 95, about 25 miles. Now, right in between mile marker 85 and 86, you'll find PalmCanyon Road, which will lead you into the Kofa National Wildlife Refuge. Now, the area was formed eons ago when two supervolcanoes imploded and formed giant caldera. So the area is surrounded by mountains on all sides. Now this serves to drain the water out of the clouds as it passes over. So the area is very, very dry. It gets almost no rainfall each year. Now there is vegetation here, but it's not much. While staying in Quartzsite, I visited this area a couple of times just to make sure we could find the perfect campsite. And we needed an area that was large enough so I could turn this big rig around and get back out at some point. Plus, we wanted to make sure we had a good cell phone connection. And fortunately, we had great Verizon at this spot. We're exactly 6.1 miles from the road, and we found this huge area that was wide open and a really great campsite. And we were only about a mile from PalmCanyon. Now, this is our camp for the week. As we grow more experienced, it's getting quicker and easier to get our campsite set up. We have all the comforts of home out here. I got my smoker, my grill, a gas fireplace, everything you could want. Now, a mile up the road is PalmCanyon, and that's where we did our hiking several days this week, and most of the filming for this. And this is the trailhead here. From the trailhead, the hike is about 3/4 of a mile into the canyon. It's a fairly easy hike. There are some steep areas and a few with loose rock, but in general, if you take your time, it's not a bad hike at all. We found there was plenty to look at in every direction, from the amazing cliff faces that you can look up at and the different lighting to the vegetation that grows up in this canyon. It's all very unique. The canyon walls will have saguaro cactus and different trees, yucca plants growing up on. And even in a couple areas, as you'll see here, there's some pretty good sized palm trees growing, 200-300 feet up that cliff face. I would say there's 15 or 20 trees, palm trees, probably in the neighborhood of 20-25 feet tall. It's really hard to judge the height at this distance, but you can definitely see them up there moving in the breeze. Now, while we were hiking in the area, we kept our eye open for any native wildlife. We had found out that the refuge is home to 2 or 3 small herds of the desert bighorn sheep. So we kept our eyes peeled on the canyon walls and the cliff faces to see if we saw any. But unfortunately, it wasn't in the cards for us this trip. We did meet up with a couple that said they saw 2 herds way back into the mountain range. Now there is all kinds of plant life in the desert. Some of it's very beautiful. And because we were here at the end of winter, the beginning of spring, and they'd just gotten a little rain, everything was greening up really nicely. And it was so beautiful. It looks so nice. But be warned, you do not want to touch anything. Every plant seems to be filled with needles and thorns. In fact, when we arrived, we let Sasha out to run around a little bit and took her eye off for just a few moments, and she got right in the middle of one of these. They're called teddy bear cholla, also known as jumping cholla, because they put out these little pods or branches and that fall to the ground, and they're everywhere off the main campsite. The needles for these little things go in every direction, so you can just barely touch one and you've got it all over you. Sasha had all 4 feet covered, and as I would pull out the spikes one by one, she would jerk and it would plant one in my hand. So it was quite an interesting 40 minutes of pulling one out of Sasha and then pulling one out of Jim. As we watch Belinda hike off in the distance, I want to give you one more safety tip. When hiking in the desert, make sure you carry both sets of keys to the car before you see your wife heading off like this. Until next time, safe travels.